Impressions of the Galactic Ice and the ice program here?
Yeah, my kids have skated at Galactic Ice, so I'm very familiar with it, and it's great. And the better that youth hockey is, the better it is for everybody in Pennsylvania. The better it is for Penn State. So absolutely.
Coach, what do you know about Hockeyville and Johnstown?
Well, we want it, right? Well, we want it, right?
Yes.
Isn't that fantastic? I mean, I think it's great. And one of the visions of Mr. Pagula when he gave the gift was to really, for the arena, not only to be a gift for the Division I programs, but to be a catalyst for youth hockey in this area, and I think it's just tremendous. So, as I said before, here with Altoona, the better the hockey is, youth hockey is everywhere, the better it is for Penn State, and it's our goal that eventually, I'm not going to say we're going to be a state of Minnesota right away, but eventually we get better and better and all the best players from the state. It's great for Penn State hockey, and really Pennsylvania is an awesome hockey state. It really is. I was really surprised, and you look and even you have the great support of the Flyer fans, the Penguins fans. Hershey has led the league in attendance, the American League in attendance for I don't know how many years now. The Baby Pens in Wilkes-Barre do extremely well, and then for Johnstown, I mean the home of Slapshot and the Chiefs and all that. I mean I think it's just wonderful. It's fantastic for hockey.
How about the Gibbons kid from Altoona? Do you have an early projection of him? What you expect? What role?
Yeah, first of all, we love him. It was great that we were able to do the home visit, the official visit during the spring game, which I think he and his family really appreciated. He's a talented guy. I think his growth potential and upside is huge. We see him as a defensive lineman, priority being as a defensive end. And we'll see how that whole thing plays out. But talking to him is funny during the recruiting process. Some schools were recruiting him as a linebacker. We always saw him as a defensive end. And when I asked him when he's most comfortable playing, he said DN. He had only played, I think, 1 year at linebacker, and he was more comfortable. I think what happens is people start pushing him in the other roles because he's not your prototype 6'3", 6'4", 6'5" defensive end. He's a little bit undersized, but it's interesting is me and Brett Pry always talk about, Coach Pry had a period of time at Virginia Tech. And Virginia Tech had a lot of success with some of these undersized defensive ends. Corey Moore, I think was his name, and some of those guys. And we probably don't want a bunch of those guys, but I think it's good to have a variety. No different than wide receiver. We've got a bunch of 6'3", 6'4" guys that have maybe a 5'9", 5'10" guy who can flat out run, and having diversity, in your recruits and your positions, and he provides that. I don't know how many defensive ends that we have on our roster carried the ball like he did in high school, maybe besides Torrance Brown. Torrance Brown's kind of similar in some ways. I don't know if you guys know, Torrance was the Alabama State High School Player of the Year. So they're the type of guys that we want to recruit. And I think Kevin falls in that category. I also heard last week that for the first time Kevin's thrown a shot put and threw it really well the other day. I think he won a meet and threw it something like 50, maybe it was 48 or something like that. But it's done really well, and I think that's just an example of showing how explosive he is. He came to camp and did the same thing. His broad jump was unbelievable. It was over 10 foot. We do another test called the triple broad, and he was over like 31 in that. So his explosive movement numbers were tremendous. And I think he's a guy when he gets on our weight program. I think we had weighed him at one point up to 245. I think he's a little bit leaner right now, but he's got a chance to be a big physical guy who's explosive.
Going to Pittsburgh later today, and just having your time in the SEC and seeing some of the geographic rivalries down there. Of course, the Iron Bowl is so big. Do you ever foresee a day, or what will it take to get a Penn State pick, that sort of atmospheric rivalry that you saw in the South?
We're playing them 16, 17, 18, and 19. That's already been scheduled. I think it's great. I think it's good for the state of Pennsylvania. Got tremendous respect for Pitt and their program and what they're doing and what they've done. Johnny Majors is a close personal friend of mine. Has been really good to me. Growing up, although I grew up just outside of Philadelphia, Got a lot of family in Pittsburgh and in the Hill District, so I know about, you know, their program. I've known about it for a long time, so I think it's great. You know, I think it's great, but you know, we view it as another game. And you know, right now, to be honest with you, our focus isn't on 16, 17, 18, and 19. It's on next year.
Offer their thoughts on ways to improve.
Absolutely.
Well, everybody seems.
And I want to hear it.
What maybe things stick out that fans have suggested that you know, whether you've thought of it before and it reinforces it, or whether it kind of helps turn on a light bulb in a way?
You know, I mean, it's all over the board, from things around fan experience, their day in Pagula or Beaver or Medlar or Rec Hall or you name it, or frankly things that our coaches ought to be doing, or you know, who they ought to be recruiting or playing or that kind of thing. So it's you know, it's all over the board. But as you all have heard me say a number of times, that kind of thing is really important to us, because for us to craft in particular a game day experience or some kind of experience in State College on the campus that is motivating for people to come and come to our athletic events, or just come and engage with the university. We need to know what's important to them.
What's the feedback been on the choose your own whiteout game? I mean, that's something new. Have you gotten feedback in the last couple of days?
Certainly have. You know, some of it has been around which game it should be. Some of it's been around the process. Oh, this is kind of cool. Great, thank you. Thanks for soliciting our input. Thanks for listening.